My name is Theodore Cottingham, and I invite you to come to Eureka Springs and have coffee with a devoted desperate. Me. Are you desperate for God? Or have you ever been? Or are you open to a new definition of God or you? Or who will teach you what? Or what power you contain? What are you willing to lay your life before this day? The judge of you? Aren't you the judge? Aren't you judging you every day in what you decide and the decisions you make? The coffees you drink, the teas, what you ingest, what you take inside you, your kingdom of? I suggest to you to consider that Eureka Springs is a place of healing. It's been a place of healing for me. I've experienced a lot of healing here. A common acceptance of me. A conscious acceptance where people have been friendly and out of the box a lot of times. So in my about 4 years here, I've talked to a lot of people here and a lot of tourists, a lot of people that visit. And I find that a lot of people that come to Eureka Springs come often. Many come every year. I've talked to a number of folks that come several times a year. They like it. But what draws them? I suggest to you it's a consciousness of inclusion. It's a consciousness of acceptance. Maybe it's a consciousness of these hills. Maybe it's a sacred ground. A lot of crystal underneath, but all of the healing waters in the stories about even the way the Indians considered it sacred many years ago. I offer you the idea this day that there are many changes coming about in our land and on our planet. And those who are willing to invest time, effort, and energy in listening to who they are through their mental faculties, not only, but through their spirit. Whatever you want to call the true essence of you, those who begin to listen, to learn to listen to what God is, will teach you. And it will teach you all things. All things? Rocket science? So for years, for over 10 years, I channeled. I learned to simply receive into my consciousness the consciousness of God, to become one consciousness and writing out what I was becoming conscious of in my mind. That oneness taught me That's the operation of the new covenant. The new covenant is not a book. It's not a man. It's the operation of God, to God, with God, to be God, instead of adamant about what is and what isn't. I suggest to you, you're a wise person, and you have wisdom beyond the ages, beyond your years. Wisdom doesn't depend on time. I suggest that there's a much greater cosmic story, a larger story than the one that Christianity promulgates or that any religion puts forth as the answer, as the religion. And then basically cuts people's wings off so that they remain under their authority. I suggest to you that you can grow wings. What if you grow wings in your mind? What if the neurons, dendrites, and all the paraphernalia that go into your temple, the temple of your mind, was really freed? I suggest that there will be a mass exodus from religion as the momentum increases about the knowledge of God, being God, teaching God about the things of God, so that God develops God, the offspring of God, returning to the Father's home, and lets the Father teach them directly that the Father is the mother, the Father is feminine, that God is feminine. If God is feminine, wouldn't you like to know it now instead of later? If God will teach you directly, wouldn't you like to know it now instead of later? If God will heal you, your mental faculties, to receive directly from God, wouldn't you like to know it now? Wouldn't you like to receive it and experience it? Wouldn't you like to experience the new covenant? To experience God not contained or constrained or constricted by man and the ways that have deceived us. So, I'm a radical. I'm a devoted desperate. A desperate that sought God. Because in my devotion to God for many years, I was devoted to the church. I was devoted to the ways, the operation, the definitions of Orthodox Christianity. And eventually I came to the point, I said, is this all there is? Listening to a man get up once a week and put forth his ramblings? I suggest to you, God will reveal God to you directly. That's my message. And if you want to speak about that, come to Eureka Springs and have coffee with me. I like coffee. I started having coffee every morning with my dad before I was 10 years old. So coffee with Dad time was very special. So there's something kind of romantic, there's something deep. You know, it's almost like coffee has always been linked with my love of my dad. And my dad was a tender man, a gentle man. a man that loved people. So I invite you to think a new thought. I ask you to come out of the box, out of your box. I ask you to consider inviting God to reveal to you God directly. And ask God, whatever He is to you, whatever she is to you, whatever name you have for God, knowing that whatever name you have for God will not defeat the operation of God, that you speak directly to God and begin to get a vision of a relationship with God that is not vicarious. It doesn't go through another man. It doesn't go through someone else's experience. It doesn't even limit itself to the book you call sacred, no matter what that book may be, nor your previous experiences. I suggest to you, it is a new age. There's a new paradigm of teaching, of education, the operation of a new covenant, where covenant is a promise. It's not a contract. The price is time, effort, surrender. The key is surrender. So, actually, I'll modify my invitation. If you just want to talk about the operation of the new covenant, or what God is doing in the earth today, I'm not interested. But if you want to participate, if you want to experience it, if you know in your heart there is more for you than religion and the definitions of man and the teachings of man, I invite you to Eureka Springs, have coffee with me. My name is Theodore Cottingham, theodorcottingham.com. I have several videos on YouTube, and I invite you with love in my heart to experience the love in your heart this day and the fullness thereof to be taught directly and enjoy life doing it. It's a great place here, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Know that I love you and bless you this day. Share these words freely.